Hey, hockey fans, welcome to the 7-Eleven Overtime Podcast. I'm your host, Gino Retta. I've spent over 4 decades working in the game of hockey, fortunate enough to meet some of the legends of the game, saw them come into the league, watched them shine in the game, and now they've moved on to life after the game. The 7-Eleven Overtime Podcast gives us a chance to catch up with some of these guys, tell some great stories, relive some great memories, and hear what they're up to today. Today's legend, all-time leader in NHL games played, number one on that list. 23rd on the NHL's all-time goal scoring list, two-time Olympic gold medalist, gold at the World Cup of Hockey. His number 12 is set to become the first jersey raised into the rafters in Sharks franchise history. He is Patrick Marleau, and he now joins us. Patty, how are you, my friend? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
So, Patty, as I introduce you, it's interesting because every week we have a guest on the show and there's a number, your number this in that category, your number 10 in that category, but you're number one in games played, 1,779 games played. I remember when you broke Gordie Howe's record in April of 2021. It's mind-boggling to me to think in all of NHL history, only 6 guys have played better than 1,700, and you played way more than 1,700. Could you ever have imagined that this would be something you'd go into NHL folklore with?
No, not really. You don't set out that's make those goals or uh, try and beat guys like Gordie Howe or things like that. I think for me it was just trying to get your foot in the door, get in the league, and stay there as long as you can. So to eventually break Gordie Howe's record, and it's pretty amazing and very humbling to be able to stay in the league that long and break that record.
I remember the night you did it, and you were being interviewed afterwards, and even to the crowd there in the building and stuff. You were pretty emotional. You were a pretty emotional guy. I remember the only word you were able to get is "I just love it." There's nothing else like this. What were the emotions like going through? Like, was the reality of that setting into you? Like, what made you so emotional on that particular night?
Yeah, I just think the getting the recognition from the fans and everybody like that and all the support. You don't get to be in the league that long or be able to break a record by yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it's the supporting cast that been lucky enough to have throughout my whole career, and you know, my family at home and parents and all that, and but then like everybody that helps you along the way, coaches, training staff,
Yeah.
massage therapists. It's the list goes on and on, but just I think that was the biggest thing. Just I felt all the appreciation and support from everybody.
And it's not only the number of games you played, it's the way you were able to stay healthy. Only 4 guys in NHL history have been able to have put together 900 consecutive games played, and you're one of those guys. Were there ever any times during that where you thought, this is incredible streak going on here? It's almost like saying shut out to a goaltender where you don't want to say it and freak him out and throw him off. Were there moments during that streak of 900 games where you thought, maybe I should just take a night off? My body's killing me.
No, not really. I think there was times during that streak where it's late in the season, and we had our playoff position clinched and all that, and coaches come around like, hey, do you want to take a night off, or take a couple games here before playoffs? But I always thought in my head that it's such a privilege to be able to play in AHL, that why would you take that night off? I know
Yeah.
sometimes people say, well, you could get injured, this and that, but it also kept me sharp. I thought if you take a day, game or two off right before playoffs, you might have to get back up to speed. So I
Yeah.
just like playing and keeping in that game mode.
Now I heard a secret, and now I can give it away because you've stopped playing. So maybe this is why you're able to get that consecutive game streak, and maybe other guys are going to try this. Every player has superstitions and idiosyncrasies. One of yours was basically between periods, guys take off their skates. Some guys just loosen their skates. Why don't you tell our audience what you did between periods and why?
Yeah. In the second intermission, I would get undressed, hop in the shower, rinse off, and then I'd go jump in the cold tub for I don't know how many minutes just to cool the body down and get that core temperature down. And I did it because when I went out for that third period, I felt like I was going out for the first period. Just felt fresh and ready to go. So that came later in my career. Started doing that, but always felt good after jumping in the cold tub.
One of your traders, and I don't know if this is true, you tell me, says he was running a stopwatch on you, and your best time was 38 seconds to get into the cold tub. Is that true?
I think that might have been just to get all my gear off. I don't think
All
I
right.
got hot tub or that quick. But
listen, one of the great things about the longevity of your career is the fact that your kids, you've got 4 boys. What are they aged? Range from 7 to 16 years old right now. Am I right on that?
Yeah, 8 to 16. Yeah.
Yeah. So how cool is it that you played long enough that they really understand? Like, they don't have to be told stories. Hey, dad played in the NHL. No, dad was like, dad did. They actually got to see you. And now they're going to get to see you at your jersey retirement. How important, how significant was it, the fact that your boys are old enough to understand what dad did and appreciate it?
I think it's super cool to be able to, share those times with them. And obviously the sacrifices that they've had to make too for me to play that long doesn't go at all. As far as me playing, those you're away from the family quite a bit. So I think they really feel a part of it. They know I appreciate them, and they had to do things to help me, still be able to play and, be quiet during my nap times and things like that before games and all those things. But to be able to have them out there and sharing it with me, and for them to grasp the magnitude of being able to go into a NHL locker room and get to meet all these guys. I think they now know they can appreciate it more. It's not just, everybody doesn't just get to go into an NHL locker room and meet guys, but so they know how special it is for them.
We're in conversation with Patrick Marleau, one of the greatest of all time, obviously eventual Hockey Hall of Famer. I'll say that. You don't have to react to that, but that's a slam dunk, obviously. This is 7-Eleven Overtime Podcast. I'm your host, Gino Retta. Do you ever think, Patty, of all the stuff that you kind of made your way through in your career? Like, you come into the league when there's 26 teams, you leave when there's 32. You've seen franchises go to places you never thought they would. You've seen countless number of rule changes. You made your way through 2 lockouts, 1 completely written off NHL season, 3 shortened NHL seasons. Do you ever shake your head and you think, man, I've seen a lot of things happen?
Yeah, there's no shortage of events that took place over my career, like you said. And just even like the style of the game when I first came in, the hooking and the holding, the clutching and grabbing, it was a full out war, those first, I don't know, 10 years of my career.
Yeah.
And then the switch to getting rid of all the hooking and holding and speeding the game up,
which turned out to be great for you, right, Patty? Because the first year after the lockout, you became a point a game player, which was great for you, because you're one of the fastest players on the ice, and now all of a sudden you get some free ice that you never had before.
Yeah, I joked about those early summers. You'd come home, you'd have scars on your wrists from all the hooks and holds. But yeah, I like the rule change, and I think that first year after the rules, that we had a lot of power play, so that probably helped out to point per game. But it definitely helped speed up the game, and then it allowed the skill to come out a lot more, I believe.
Here's a number for you. They did the math as you were wrapping up your career. In all the players that have played in NHL history, you either played with or against 37% of every single player who's ever played in NHL history. Have you ever heard that number? Does that boggle your mind?
Yeah, I've heard that number, and that's pretty mind-boggling with the NHL being around as long as it has. But I've been going over a little bit of stuff here. All the Sharks sent me a thing of all the teammates I played with and the number of games I played with them. So it's pretty cool to go down that list and see some of the names and how they've had an impact on myself, with my life and career. The impact that they showed me just by being good teammates and, being a friend and, showing me the ropes early on in my career.
You know what number really stands out to me? Like, okay, the most games played numbers, amazing. And I can't imagine anybody ever topping that number. One of your old teammates, Brent Burns, is one of the leaders among active players with games played, and he's still like 450 games back. I doubt he's going to be touching that. But one of the numbers that really stands out to me is 23. There's only 22 guys in the history of the NHL that have scored more goals than you. Just when you hear that, reflect on that and tell me what that means to you.
Yeah, it's pretty like when you just kind of realize it, when you put it the way you just did, it's pretty happy that I was able to get that high. I guess you just growing up in Saskatchewan, you're just trying to get, like I said earlier, just maybe there's a chance you can play and stick around for a few years, and but to be able to climb that list, and I mean there's unbelievable players that have scored a lot of goals in this league, so it's pretty cool to be up there with all those great names.
I don't know if you know this or not, but we've just been talking just for a few minutes, and you mentioned Saskatchewan a couple of times already. You're from, and do you I know, I guess the closest town to where you were is Aneroid. Is that fair? Aneroid, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Population 50. Yet the pride that you have in coming, explain that to me. Why is that? It just seems like, listen, you spent decades living in San Jose. You spent a couple of years living in Toronto. You're now living in Parkland, Florida with your young family, yet you keep coming back to Aneroid, Saskatchewan. Talk to me about the pride in representing that community.
I think it's just being part of a community like that. I don't think a lot of people get to experience it or get to know what it's like, where you go to school, you go to the rink when you're young, and everybody knows everybody and their dog's name, basically. And
That's true.
Everybody's looking out for everybody else, and everybody knows what's going on in everybody's world before Twitter and all the social media. So just that community feeling, and what all the farmers do there, all the teachers and all the people around there, and how great people they are and how hard they work day in and day out. So I think that's where the pride comes from.
So let me walk through this with you, because this one is, personally, given my age, I'm starting to wrestle with this myself too. You grew up in a small community of Aneroid, Saskatchewan. I grew up in a little village called Sawtree Mills in England, which was roughly the same size population. You grow to enormous popularity in what you do. You feel like you're successful in what you do. You walk the streets, people recognize you. You're getting accolades. People cheer for you. People stand up and cheer when you score a goal. You understand where I'm going with this. All of this stuff happens. And then one day you say, I'm retiring and I'm stepping away from this. You've been out of it now a little over a year, almost a year and a half. What's that trend? Like, I gotta believe that that's an incredible shock to the system. What's that been like for you?
It's been tough. It's been really tough, and that's all I've ever known, ever wanted to do, and now it's when it like you said, when it just stops abruptly like that, and gotta try and find something to kind of grab onto, and something to get you out of bed in the morning and all that. Yeah. So but right now I'm just enjoying the family, and I think that's the one thing that I'm focusing on now, is just being around for the kids and helping them out and helping the wife out as much as possible. I think that's the true support cast right there. I'm just finally realizing the magnitude of all the things that she had to do in order for me to just play hockey and just worry about hockey. So learning how to be an adult, have to make schedules, and it was a lot easier when everything was kind of laid out. You had your routine, but I'm enjoying the time with the family for sure.
Has it been hard to watch games? Was it difficult? I mean, here's the bottom line: you're in your mid 40s now. From when you were 4 or 5 years old, in August, you're getting ready for the start of your minor hockey, skating on the pond, getting your skate sharpened. There's always that prep for the fall for literally decades of your life. And now you just went through your first real fall this year where that didn't happen. What's that kind of adjustment like for you personally?
Yeah, it's a weird one for you just go like, okay, what should I be doing now? Or what was I, this time last year I was, in the gym 2 hours a day, working out, doing this and that. And now it's kind of driving kids to their hockey, driving kids to their working out, or helping them work out at home. And so it's definitely been a complete flip. But my oldest now is into really taking hockey seriously now, and so I'm kind of trying to help him out as much. And my younger ones are also taking it pretty serious now too. So it's fun to see them, take that interest into it and put that time and effort into it. And as long as I can, take all the experience I had and try to relay it to them, that'll help hopefully make them better players and better people.
When you retired, you threw out a quote, which I found very poignant. I'm going to go figure out who I am again. Was it figuring out who you are again, or figuring out who you are now, that the roles and the responsibilities and everything have changed?
Yeah, it's probably figure out who I am now, what I can bring to the, this world, I guess, how I can help contribute to it in any way possible. And right now that's me coaching my kids and helping out, not only my kids, but other kids, and trying to pass on that knowledge and experience. And it's been pretty fun and rewarding this year, helping out coaching quite a few of my boys.
That's awesome. The chase for the cup. We can't talk to you without talking about that. No one's played more games in NHL history who never actually had the opportunity to win the cup. The closest you came was back in 2016 when you got to face the much vaunted Pittsburgh Penguins. What was that experience like in that cup final when you got so close to making that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show, like, all that hard work you've been putting in over the years, and you're not guaranteed anything. You just you got to, it's all about timing and being on the right teams and getting a bounce here and there. So it was great to be able to get that far and get a taste of being in the Stanley Cup Finals. Obviously, didn't get to hoist it or win it, but just, and the players that you do it with, you have that camaraderie, you have that togetherness, battling together to get to the finals, and trying to win it. I mean, and falling short, but knowing what everybody had to put in order just to get there. I mean, that you can look across the room or look in the mirror and know you're all, you just wasn't enough.
In fairness, you never won the Stanley Cup, but you knew what it was like to win. You won a pair of gold medals with Canada, which is enormous. World Cup of Hockey gold, World Championship gold. You were a winner at multiple levels. What was that experience like? I mean, you're obviously a very, very proud Canadian. What was that experience like for you in 2010 to be a part of? I know 2014 was awesome, but 2010 was on home soil, Vancouver, your first time winning Olympic gold. What was that experience like for you?
It was the ultimate, I think, just being in the Olympics to begin with, playing with and against the best players in the world. And then to be able to win it on home soil and kind of celebrate it and see everybody, the celebration that went on after we won it was an incredible experience. Something I'll never forget. I don't know if I've told this story many times, but after the game, I was in a cab with Brendan Morrow and his wife, and we were going to dinner, and we were stuck right in the middle of it. We were surrounded by Canadian fans everywhere, and we were just kind of just taking it all in while we were in the cab. So it was pretty cool to be part of it that way.
I did, and I'm glad you told the story because it is a great story. When you just have for me, I find it kind of funny. You just won Olympic gold, and what are you doing? We're going on a double date. We're going to go for dinner. I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah,
that was hilarious. And then to actually kind of absorb that moment, the reality of all hits you while you're in a cab. That was very funny.
Yeah.
Is your gold medal figuring prominently right now in a little showcase somewhere?
It's in our.
Tell
It's
me
in
it's not in a shoebox, Patty.
No, it's not in a shoebox. It's in my safe, tucked
Okay,
away right now. Yeah.
good. That's hilarious. You talk about guys that you shared the experience with. Um, Joe Thornton was there right at the beginning with you. You guys went 1-2 in the draft. While he ended up in Boston. You went to San Jose for decades, and then Jumbo came back, and suddenly you guys were teammates. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Jumbo.
Yeah. I mean, it started early. I think we were like 16 or 16 or 17. We played on Team Canada under 18s or something like that.
Yeah.
Played against them maybe the year before in Moncton when they have Team Ontario, Team West, and all that. And then going to like award ceremonies before the draft. So we got to know each other right before the draft, and then leading up to the draft, you kind of hang out with the other draft picks, and yeah, just kind of grew from there. And then obviously him being a great player and me trying to learn or surround myself with good players like that, so I can selfishly learn from them and take something away was always fun to be around Jumbo, and then to have him come to San Jose was huge because it just instantly made our team that much better.
It was weird. I'll tell you personally, it was very strange for me to see you in a jersey other than San Jose's. So when you decided, I mean, you were an unrestricted free agent in 2017. You had a bunch of teams that were courting you, trying to convince you, because everybody still saw you as a guy who could still skate great leadership, would be a great guy to have on a team to turn things around. You had your pick of a number of different organizations, and you landed in Toronto. How did you make that decision? What went into that?
Well, yeah, I was just kind of weighing everything, and I think Toronto wasn't really on the radar at the very start, and then they came in late, and then I went on YouTube. I started looking at the players. Yeah, because being on the West Coast, you don't see them all that much. But yeah, I went on YouTube, started looking up highlights of Mitchie and.
Come on, you seriously? You were scanning YouTube to see what the Leafs are all about? That's hilarious.
Yeah, just watching some games and just to see the way that they were playing. I think, and then Babs was there obviously at the time, so talking to him and all the success he had with his teams, and they just looked like they were going in the right direction, and that's what kind of sold me. And I'm glad I was able to go there and make some great friendships, and we had some good teams, but fell short once again.
We had a lot of fun with you guys, with Mitch and Austin Matthews, playing video games at your place with your boys, because quite frankly, they're not far removed from the age of your kids. I think I was doing the math the other day. Austin was maybe like 2 weeks old when you were drafted. It's that kind of scenario. Talk to me about what was it as much a father-kids relationship as we kind of in the media and hockey fans tried to turn that into? Was it like that?
I maybe at times, but I'd say mainly teammates and like mentor. I don't know, but they might have looked at me that way, but I was just kind of, we're teammates. I'm trying to help as much as I can, but once again too, I'm still trying to learn from these guys. I mean, they're coming in with all these starting out with skills coaches and things like that. When they were younger, I didn't have any of that. So just trying to take bits and pieces from what they know and what they've learned at such a young age, and the way they move their bodies, and like Mitchie's edge work, and the way Matty can shoot that puck. I was just like, my eyes were wide open, just trying to take in whatever these young kids can do.
In conversation with Patrick Marleau, two-time Olympic gold medalist, future Hockey Hall of Famer. This is the 7-Eleven Overtime Podcast. I'm your host, Gino Retta. You mentioned the word mentor, so you come into the league, you're the marathon man in the league, you're the Iron Man, no one's played more games than you, and then gradually your responsibility starts to shift, where you become a mentor now with guys like Matthews and Marner, and I'm sure there were other guys you mentored in San Jose along the way, and the other guys that maybe wasn't quite as visible. Now you're shifting into kind of full-time role. You mentioned your son. Landon. I guess he's your oldest one. And is it Jager, your 12-year-old or 11-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah.
These two kids now are coming up in the game. Are you able to transfer that and say, I could bring some of the stuff that I learned throughout my career as an NHLer and maybe shift this to my kids? How much do you want to be a part of that? How much are you being a part of that right now? Is that why you moved to Florida to do this?
Yeah, partially. Little bit of that. I think I got to be careful when I'm talking to these guys and these kids how much information I give them at at
Too
once.
much?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm giving. Sometimes I don't know if I'm giving them too much or not enough, or if I'm relaying it the right way where they'll understand it. So that, I mean, I'm back to being a rookie, trying to coach these little kids and trying to pass on the knowledge that I have. So I hope I can round out the teaching skills and do
Are
that.
they players? Are you kids players? Which one's the one you're like, ooh, crap.
Well, right now my oldest is the one who's kind of taken over, taken by storm, and everybody else is kind of, they see him doing well, and now they kind of want to do well, so they're putting in a little bit more time shooting pucks in the driveway and stick handling and all the things it takes to become really good hockey players.
Everybody appreciates the knowledge you have and the skill set you have and your skating ability. It's something you'd like to be able to transfer to your boys. Mike Greer, one of your former teammates, general manager now, the San Jose Sharks. I'm told that he contacted you about possibly doing something with the Sharks organization. Is that something you're considering or have considered?
Yeah, it's something I'm considering, thinking about. The Sharks organization's been great to me and over the years, and obviously to have a chance to learn or to go into whatever it is, management, coaching, whatever kind of avenue I want to maybe take a look at, they're willing to help me out. So that's a great thing to have in your back pocket, and if there's something I can help the organization with, even not playing, not being on the ice, but a way off the ice I can help them, then that's something I'm definitely looking at and probably do in sometime in the future, hopefully.
You're an assistant right now. Is that something you'd like to do behind an NHL bench? Would you rather, here's what I'm asking, would you rather be in player development to mentor these guys along and bring them along and scouting, or do you actually see one day where Patrick Marleau could be like a lot of other guys, former NHLers, who then step behind the bench as a head coach? Is that something that appeals to you?
Well, yeah, that's something I'm trying to figure out right now.
Okay.
I was able to go out last summer and help out with some player development. They had some of their draft picks in, the younger kids, so that I enjoyed doing that, being around doing that. And as far as coaching right now, it's pretty cool how you can you're able to give something to the kids and then to have them go out and do it on the ice. It's pretty rewarding to be able to see that and see them grasp the knowledge you give them and use it on the ice to their advantage.
Number 12 in the rafters in San Jose, February 25th, 2023. Talk to me about that experience.
It's a little nerve-wracking right now. I think not too sure what to expect. I don't know if I got to go on and watch some other people's jersey retirements and maybe take some pointers from that. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a great opportunity for me to thank the fans, thank everybody who's supported me over my career, and be able to see a lot of the faces on February 25th. So I'm looking forward to that.
Who do you want there to share that time with you? Because you can make some calls and decide, these are people I really want to be there. Who are you most excited about being there, and maybe also disappointed that they can't be there to share it with you?
Geez, there's too many names to name. What we're having an alumni game a couple days before, so a little bit have been kept surprise for me. So I'm not too sure exactly. I've told them who I'd like to see there, some of the guys, and they've reached out to a bunch of guys. So from what I hear, it's going to be a great group of ex-teammates and guys I played with. So I'm super excited about the alumni game and getting to get together with some of my past teammates. So I'm excited for that.
Has this been an emotional run for you, given what you've gone through in the last 18 months? I mean, I got the sense that when you shut it down, you stopped playing in May of 21, didn't actually officially retire until May of 22. So I got the sense that you weren't quite ready to retire just at that point. And now you're, 6 or 7 months past that. Talk to me about the emotional journey you've gone through, the acceptance of it, and how you're feeling right now about things in general.
Yeah, I think, still kind of I was holding out hope for a little bit that, that might be able to, find another roster spot. But then obviously it was looking like as the months go on, it gets a little bit harder and harder to find a team because, they're putting in all that work. They're getting to know their systems and all that. So, I think it was me just trying to hang on. Didn't want to, announce it and wrap my brain around it. But, once I announced it, it was kind of like, now what's next for me and my family. So that's kind of where the focus is gone to now, and just trying to find the way and spend that time with the family and try and make up for some lost time.
You gave us tremendous joy and decades in the game. You enjoyed that. Are you enjoying life after hockey now?
Yeah, I am. I think, I keep going back to my kids and what they're into and what they're playing hockey, and but being able to, go on trips with them, whereas opposed before, you have to stay home because there's more games, and, planning those trips and planning some time with the family, doing things that we weren't allowed to when I was playing is some things that I look forward to, and I'm pretty sure my family looks forward to as well.
Patty, congratulations on a spectacular career. We've really, really enjoyed the ride along with you, and I look forward to seeing you on the red carpet at the Hockey Hall of Fame.
All right, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
He's the all-time leader in NHL games played, 23rd on the all-time goal-scoring list, two-time Olympic gold medalist. Our guest has been Patrick Marleau. The Overtime Podcast is proudly presented by 7-Eleven. Before leaving the rink, order your favorite Slurpee, fresh 100% premium Arabica coffee, hot from the oven pizza and wings, pint of ice cream, or even a carton of milk, eggs, loaf of bread from the 7 Now app, and Team 7-Eleven will have your order ready for pickup 24/7. Hey, if you missed any parts of the show, don't worry. Visit our website at overtimepodcast.ca, where you can both listen and subscribe to future shows. 7-Eleven's Overtime Podcast can be found on the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, iTunes, or at any of your favorite podcast platforms. Until next week, I'm Gino Retta saying so long, hockey fans, and thanks for joining us on the 7-Eleven Overtime Podcast.